What's going on, guys? It's your boy Sleazy here, and I'm pretty sure I'm gonna agitate everybody with this. We'll call it a movie review, and let you guys know how Dune's actually doing, and my thoughts on Dune. Because I gave it a 7.5 when I left the movie theater, and I think I stand by that because it's a really good movie, but it's not it's not a great Dune movie, but it is a good movie. So let's start here with how it's doing in the box office. So currently, after its first weekend, not including Sunday, it's sitting at almost 180 mil, which is pretty good because that's almost what it cost for the production budget. Now, of course, there's going to be marketing involved, so it's got to do better than that. But in terms of how it's doing, it's kind of on par with the original Dune. So I do think this movie will at least make its money back, turn a little bit of a profit. I don't know if it'll do enough for them to want to make Dune Messiah, but I hope so because I'd actually like to see what they do because they changed a lot of the storyline. So I'm kind of curious on how they tie it all together. But we'll get into that in a second when we do the review. So yeah, the movie's definitely doing better than Madam Web. That's for damn sure. So hats off to Villeneuve for actually making money on a movie. So I'm sure what you're all actually here for is my review on Dune. So it was a good movie. It started off really slow. It was a really slow roll. There seems to be a lot of unnecessary dialogue that doesn't add, and it goes too slow. And then it almost immediately after an hour and a half in, 2 hours in, goes to sprint mode and skips a lot of plot that should have been in the movie. I've got an actual list of things that were not great for the movie. And again, this is me saying I gave the movie a 7.5, so it's not a bad movie. It was really poorly timed. The pacing was really bad in this movie. So my first negative of this movie is going to be Chani. It's a bad cast. It's bad writing. It skips so much of the plot and changes so much of her storyline in the Dune series. And I think it suffers from modern day writing. Right? So the entire movie, there's going to be spoilers in here if you haven't seen it. Probably now is a good time to check out. But before you check out, make sure you smash that like button, make sure you subscribe, make sure you share this one out. So going into the spoilers, the entire first hour and a half, almost 2 hours of the movie, she's telling Paul essentially he needs to like man up and take control and free Dune. FYI, they call it Arrakis, but its original name's Dune. Haha, cool. So he finally does it, and she like throws a temper tantrum. I mean, typical woman moment, but still. Anyway, moving on. Towards the end of the movie, you get the Emperor coming to Dune, accepting the challenge. Paul wins his shit. So here's where the movie and the books depart greatly. So one, we don't see Chani getting pregnant by Paul. So that changes a lot of the later storylines, which is why I'm curious to see if Messiah comes out because I want to know how they tie it all together. But the other part of that is the princess is supposed to tell Paul that she's going to marry him to make peace. In this movie, they change it where he demands her hand in marriage and then looks at Chani and she throws another fit and just goes, the girl boss storms out and goes and rides a sandworm into the desert alone, which makes no sense because I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure in the book she makes fun of the princess and says, I hope you enjoy your embroidery because Paul really loves me. Right, just takes a dump on a princess. Fantastic. Loved it. It was great. But in this one, it's just kind of like she goes off and does her own girl boss thing, which doesn't make sense to me. But I know the Dune fans are not happy with this movie. I think it's still a good movie. Even though it departs so much from the books, I still think it's a good movie. There were a couple times in the movie where there shouldn't have been time skips. Like when Paul drinks the worm piss, the water of life. Uh, he's supposed to be in a coma for like a month or at least a couple weeks, and in the movie they make it seem like it's 30 minutes, like he's in a coma. And Chani just shows up, gives him another drop of thing, and he wakes right up and he's like, I know exactly what I'm supposed to do now. Did not like how they made that look and feel. But overall, the movie was good. I don't like that they completely skipped the guilds because they played an important part in the starting of all the houses going to war. The princess is definitely a sub character that is almost non-existent in the movie. But again, that's a departure from the books to the movie. Even with all the issues I have with the movie and how they changed some of the lore, I still think it's a good movie. So I'm sure that'll get me hate from the fans. That's okay. But the beginning really was just too slow and it was a slog to get through. Like I had to force myself to pay attention about an hour in. But I did watch it twice just to make sure I didn't miss too much. They have left out so much of subplots. I understand why fans of Dune are disappointed with the movie, but I think as a normie, people are going to absolutely love this movie. Some things they might not understand, but I think they do a good job at trying to extrapolate it and translate it to people. So overall, I'm going to stick with this 7.5 rating as a movie. I don't think it's for fans. I think it's completely meant for normies. I think this should have been a trilogy of movies for the Dune book. I think they rushed too many things and couldn't put it in to get it into two movies. And I think that's what's lacking. It really does need a third movie to finish it out. But hey, I'm sure there's gonna be a ton of Dune fans that disagree with me and say this movie's absolute trash. But let me know in the comments section. I'd love to hear it. I mean, those are just my biggest complaints with it. But maybe you've got more. I want to hear them. And if you did like the movie and you're not a huge Dune fan, I want to hear in the comment section. Throw it in there. I'd love to hear everybody's thoughts on this movie because you know just what I thought of the movie. But again, while you're there, make sure you smash that like button. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you share this one out. And until the next one, guys, be easy like sleazy.